And it's time for the Gianna Volpe Report, brought to you in part by Michael Evans, author of The Real Matrix, by Maximus Health and Fitness, 130 East Main Street, Riverhead, by Village Overhead Door in Southold, and by Counsel, the new book by Victor Giannini. Good morning, Gianna.
Good morning, Bruce.
Now, before we bring on our guest, for years and years and years, my father resented it. We walked down the street, and he would be identified as Bruce's father.
Oh, and he didn't like that.
He hated it. He hated it. I mean, hated it.
You're Vince's son.
Well, I don't know, but that's Bruce's father. I just had this experience now with our guest.
Oh, did you?
I did. In this way, because he knows my wife, the dental assistant and office manager down in West Hampton. So when I identified myself by name, I'm not really sure he knew who I was. But when I said, Debbie, the dental assistant's husband, he knew.
Debbie's husband. That's
Debbie's
right.
husband. So now
You've experienced.
I've experienced this.
Are you offended?
No, not really. Well,
I wouldn't be.
I'm going to milk this later. Don't you worry about it. How hurt I was, how shattered I was, how my self-esteem was driven to the toilet.
Well, Gabby Pisacano, great man.
He was a great guy.
Raised awesome sons. Rich Pisacano, our guest, is one of them. Good morning, Rich. How are you?
Good morning. Good. How are you doing?
Very well. So I ran into.
I'm so disappointed now, Rich.
Why?
Because Debbie's husband. That's how you know me, is Debbie?
Absolutely.
Thanks.
She's famous in my world.
I noticed that.
I like that. I love Debbie.
I got to send her a copy of this. I got to send Debbie the air check.
Yeah.
She'll love it.
So I ran into Rich yesterday, and I'm. This is my favorite, last minute guest shows. Which is probably, I shouldn't be tooting my horn about that, but
no, you really shouldn't. It should look like we prepared for this,
So yeah, Well, I had.
Well, Pisacano, just that we were like the only one we could get.
Well, here, you know what? It actually shows how much I'm improving because I couldn't confirm my guests on Wednesday because I was super preparing, making sure that everything was going well. And when they weren't confirmed, I lined up 2 guests just in case. So that's cool. That shows I'm responsible.
Okay.
So we've got Rich on to talk about First Fridays on Love Lane, which are starting tomorrow. And this is great. I was working at Lombardi's last summer, and Love Lane, it's usually very busy, but just absolutely came alive. Live music, everyone out on the sidewalks, and that's like it's almost like a little French alley, a rue, as it were. The cheese shop, the wine store, the deli, the market, the hardware store, the bank. But last summer, I remember it was like a UK invasion. Do you remember that, Rich? Did you guys have that experience?
I don't. I know that sort of randomly we seem to get a lot of foreign visitors, and they come sort of in waves.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't recall that.
So last summer was big. A big British invasion. It was like the Beatles. And it was because apparently there was a piece about the North Fork in British Airways in the In-Flight magazine. So tomorrow's the first one of the season, right?
Correct.
So talk a little bit about First Fridays, how it was last year, and what's going on tomorrow.
Last year was a great start to what first became an idea. I had asked the group to get together to just come up with some ideas to see if there was an interest in staying open later. And I wasn't going to think about it unless there was somewhat of a consensus. And Kate Altman mentioned these First Fridays that happen, all over in different areas, and this kind of light went off in all our heads. And so it just became this great collaborative effort to say, well, let's dedicate the first Friday of each month to bring together the sort of the artisans and farmers and stay open late and get everybody excited about just a unique opportunity for the community. Tomorrow is the first one of the year. It'll run through December.
Wow.
And we have a bunch of new things going on. We have a farmer's market, which was
yay!
Holly Brado, which is an interesting component to this all.
Yeah, I remember when that was
some new people.
starting. So has that been going on, or is tomorrow?
It hasn't. No, that we've never had a farmer's market included in First Friday. So tomorrow will be the first.
But is it going to be the first time that the market happens as well? Like, because I remember when that was sort of being planned.
There was one at the florist
Okay.
a few years back. I think that was on Friday afternoon. But this is new to the First Friday. So you're right in the middle of the street. I think there's 9 or 11, somewhere around there, different farmers and
Wow.
producers that will be involved. So I'm really excited about it.
Oh my gosh, me too. Because I live by Love Lane, and I'm totally going to be doing my grocery shopping tomorrow night.
Excellent.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, the first time I did a First Friday event was in Kansas City, like 5 years ago or something, and it's perfect. At least it was last summer, when I remember it was packed with people, and hanging out at Roanoke Vineyards, hanging out there, and how cool it was. I felt so cool. And actually, this is unrelated to First Fridays, but I wanted to ask you about going private at Roanoke Vineyards, because I remember when you guys did this, and I've been asking people about it because I hear that it's something that other vineyards are interested in doing. What has that been like for you guys? Have you done it, and if so, how's it going?
Well, it's just begun. We closed for the month of January, and February 1st was our first date as a private club, and so far it's been really successful. It kind of started. It kind of happened organically in that we're getting more visitors to the area. Our wines were becoming more scarce. More and more people were coming out, and I started to think about parking and bathrooms and security. Right. And I thought to myself, I'm a wine grower, and I need to think about barrel options and vineyard techniques and blends and things that have to do more with my craft, and less to do with tourism. And so we said, look, I think it's time to do it. Let's dedicate our home vineyard to the wine club, which was growing really quickly. And a huge leap of faith. It's going really well, and we're excited about it. I'm not sure we would have done it quite yet without having the Love Lane shop to sort of allow people to come visit and introduce our brand to new people.
Wow.
Well, the other interesting thing is that a lot of the wineries out here have been talking about taking the so-called partying aspect out of the tasting rooms.
Well, that they do, and
summer.
Sometimes they do that by not allowing limos to just stop by. Like no limos without pre.
Has that? But my question is, did that that whole atmosphere, did that hurt the image of winemaking on Eastern Long Island?
I think for some they think so. Us deciding to go private, I think really shook up the industry to make them think about what are we doing and what direction should we go in. For some, I think they believe that it tarnishes the brand when you kind of cater to the tourists and music and agri-tainment. But I really believe that if you're making great wine and you stand behind your product and you're serious about your craft, then play the bands and have food and have fun. I mean, that's what life should be about. So I don't criticize anybody for focus on agri-tainment and groups and things like that. I just wasn't prepared. My farm is small. My production is small. I didn't go in that direction necessarily for that reason, but
I think that's really interesting.
So the answer is yes and no.
Yeah.
And the other part of this is,
because if you're not going to be private, it's almost a necessity to figure out a model of working with the agrotainment to remain viable.
But I got to ask you this question. There are a lot of people like, say, me, who are intimidated by the whole wine thing because I know nothing about it. Gianna knows
You
more about
have-
this whole thing than I
You have
do.
a signed bottle.
I
of
have a signed
Gabby's-
bottle of Gabby.
That's
And
the
I got to
coolest
tell
thing.
you, I called your father because I heard about this on the radio on a Sunday morning on WCBS AM, and I'm thinking, God, Pisacano gets on News Radio 88 in New York, and I'm here like toiling in Riverhead to get attention. Where did I go wrong?
And,
But I do have that bottle of that bottle of Gabby is sitting in my pantry in the basement where it's always climate controlled.
I told Bruce before we came on the air, I was like, that's even cool. I just got a signed photo of the soup Nazi from Seinfeld. And I was like, that tops my soup Nazi.
This, Rich, is what we talk about
This
here.
is what we talk about.
This is not a highfalutin show, as you might have figured out.
Yeah.
But I got to tell you, that bottle of Gabby sits there, and I'm afraid to open it because
Yeah.
I wanted to like be there. It's almost like an heirloom.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's fantastic. We have, what wine we have left of the Gabby's Cabernet Franc. I hold very tightly.
Mm-hmm.
It's very special, and we still have 2 vintages of his that are not yet bottled. So we're
Wow.
excited about those too.
That's great. The legacy lives on, and I mean, obviously, it will go beyond those vintages, but still, that's. Does that help you stay connected with him?
Absolutely. I mean, his rose is still there, and his presence is there. He left not only a legacy, but he left sort of this set of instructions as to how to work in the vineyard and how to go about
I love it.
His techniques. It was quite amazing. I had taught him how to grow grapes many years ago because I was already growing grapes, and he had some farming background. And it wasn't long before the teacher became the student, and he just took it grape growing to a whole nother level. It was quite impressive. But
I love it. We got to talk more about this. Rich, thank you so much for coming on the program. When we come back from the break, we'll be speaking with artist Megan Booty.
Rich, thank you very much.
Thank you very much for having me.
Our
Have a good
pleasure.
day.
An overhead door serves a purpose, and it should be as beautiful as the rest of your home or building. For more than 30 years, Village Overhead Doors has been creating and installing beautiful garage doors for contractors and homeowners on the North and South Forks. They also install automatic garage door openers that open with the click of a remote, so there's no getting out of the car in bad weather. For a wide range of styles, from lifetime steel doors to custom-made wood doors, and for all your garage door needs, please call 765-4963 today and find out how your garage door can be a beautiful focal point of your home or building's exterior. Village Overhead Doors of Southold, 765-4963. Make the call and let them add beauty and value to your home or business.
Every villain thinks they're a hero, especially on the east end of Long Island. Timothy Dune is one such man. He's a tortured soul, and you won't be able to put down Victor Giannini's new novel, Counselor, as you're reading about him and what could happen to the East End. Roger Rosenblatt of Time magazine called Counselor an important piece of work. Robert WRIV says Counselor is compelling and will linger in your mind. Don't bury your head in the newspaper or in the sand. Read Counselor, Victor Giannini's new novel, available in paperback or on Kindle from Amazon.com or Silverthought.com. Counselor, the story of what once was an idyllic place that's become home to McMansions and private estates and its effect on one person. Counselor by Victor Giannini, available on Amazon.com.